Well, lots of concentration on the banking sector, but I want to focus on the cement players today because it seems that there's quite a bit of volatility that's filtered through on that front. And I just went through the performances specifically on Dangote Cement and Alishia Cement yesterday and the day before. What are you making of the cement space as a whole?
Good morning, Alishia. We are very bullish about the cement sector in Nigeria. We think that the sector as a whole is very attractive and is positioned to deliver returns to investors this year. And that view is largely driven by the fact that there's still excess demand in the cement sector compared to the capacity of the industry players on the one hand. On the other hand as well, we see very attractive government policies in terms of the import quota that is strictly for cement importers. We also see energy subsidies coming from government, and so from the policy perspective, the sector is very attractive. Also, the investments that companies have put into diversifying their energy sources as well as expanding their capacity is beginning to kick in right now. And so we expect that over the next 2 to 3 years, the cement companies will deliver impressive returns.
So further investment is certainly being encouraged, Jide, but having said that, the chances of competition, or a new contender seems less likely, with there being high barriers to entry within the sector, specifically primarily the cost of installing capacity, right?
Right. You're very correct about that. The entry cost is very high because if you look at it, for example, Dangote Cement has even significantly increased the barrier due to the huge capital expenditure that they are putting into their plants. And so you are right that the entry barrier is very, very high, and that's why we have very few industry players scattered around various regions of the country.
Of course, good news then for the existing players. Let's hone in on a few of those. Dangote Cement dominating in terms of size, as you've just highlighted. Is this necessarily, though, the counter to be watching here, where we know at the listing many were questioning whether that counter was fairly priced to start off with, saying that it was too expensive, and thus the sell-off we saw after the listing?
Absolutely. I think for Dangote Cement, the company needs to prove to investors that the numbers actually are, that they are able to deliver on those numbers, and that we would see by the time their full year result comes out. But the reality of the matter as well is that institutional investors cannot afford to look away from Dangote Cement, because if you see what happened 2 days ago, we could almost say that Dangote Cement singularly lifted the index, because it's about 25% of the index. So institutional investors can't look away from that company. If you hone into the fundamentals of the company as well, they control about 57% of the market share. And by the end of this year, when they are plants come on stream, the first one which is due to come on stream by June, when those plants fully come on stream later this year, then their market share will increase to 70%. And so if you are looking at the sector as a whole, then you can't afford to look away from Dangote Cement.
Lafarge WAPCO, though, comes up as a strong contender. It's managing to hold its own weight in investor rankings. What's your view on that stock?
We think that WAPCO is positioned this year to deliver impressive results. Based on our books, actually, WAPCO is our most favored cement company, as we see upside potential of over 50% in this year. And the reason is because if you look at WAPCO, they've been able to, they're planning to introduce a new plant which will increase their capacity from 2 million tons to about 4.2. And that plant is supposed to come on stream by August. Now, when that plant comes on stream, we expected that it would boost their earnings, and as well their overheads would also significantly reduce, because the plant is able to use both fuel and coal. And so their operating costs would also significantly come down, knowing fully well that for the cement producers, the energy cost is a bulk cost in their overhead. So we think that WAPCO, once the new plant comes on stream, would be able to deliver very impressive results.
We've heard rumorings, though, of the possibility of further delays in the commission of that new capacity. Is that much of a concern for you at this stage?
For us right now, I wouldn't say it's too much of a concern because across sector, even if you look at Dangote Cement as well, the question on investors' mind is, will the new plant actually come on stream in June? And the same thing is the case with WAPCO. And so if you look at it, it seems like it's a, whether you want to call it an environmental factor or just a cautious view from investors. But I think that WAPCO should be, the new plant should be able to come on stream at about August.
Then we had some impressive numbers out of Alishia Cement. I mean, 154% price gain recorded by Alishia in 2010. Safe to assume that this reflects some renewed investor confidence in the company following its performance in the 9-month period of 2010, when net income there rose 61%.
Yes, you are right. Alishia Cement had a very impressive year last year, returning over 150%. And that's largely because investors were not satisfied with their results in 2009, for example, when they didn't pay any dividend. And the reason the company didn't pay any dividend is because they were investing more into the business, trying to plow back some of those profits. And the effect of that showed in their 9 months results when they knew their energy costs had significantly reduced by about 60% because they had diversified their source of energy. But having said that, we think that at current prices, Alishia Cement is actually fairly priced, because in our books the price stands at about 25 naira. And so we think that from where it is right now, compared to its peers, Alishia Cement isn't really as attractive because it's trading at a projected PE of over 10 compared to other companies like Dangote Cement and WAPCO that are trading at sub 10.
Well, certainly that seems to be the consensus at this stage, that the stock is fully priced at that 25 naira level.